Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Wow. Hope everybody is doing well out there. Crazy action tonight. Tons of volatility. That's why we as traders absolutely love this space. And it's why being all cash definitely makes things easy sometimes in terms of being calm and collected and ready for moves like this. So Coinbase sprung it on most of us that we were going to see BCH now added and we're going to open up for trading. That's definitely the news event for the night. And in response, we saw Bitcoin dump and the correlation drag down Ethereum and Litecoin with it as we saw BCH pump up. So there's an inverse correlation with BCH running strong and the big three dropping down bearish. So we're seeing recovery now. We saw a huge dump. We'll look at it on the shorter term time frames. Oversold bounce was the play. And honestly, when it gets this oversold, obviously the RSI levels can get extreme. But there's one thing that doesn't change, and it's still those indicators that we're watching. So let's go through Bitcoin first, because that was the most important name that I was watching. I traded Litecoin on the flip, on the bounce, but I was making all of my decisions, most of them based off of Bitcoin. Well, I won't say that. It was very heavily weighted in Bitcoin. So I'll explain that when I get to it. But just for now, on the daily time frame, we have lost the strongest higher low pattern. This key support for me was 15,700 to maintain a higher low pattern. And so that's a big setback. Not a big setback, but definitely a setback that is noteworthy. Plenty of times we've seen the bulls completely V-shaped recovery to all-time highs. That's still possible, but it's not likely. So what I'm looking for to happen is for a bounce to play out, for a lower high to be set on the daily time frame, and then an equilibrium pattern. And why I expect an equilibrium pattern is because the range that we've seen over the last few days is plenty big enough in order for this volatility to tighten up. So we're seeing equilibrium patterns on the shorter term time frames, and then as you just scale out, there's, they occur at different points in time. Right now, I believe a 15-minute time frame one already occurred. An hourly one is coming up overnight, in my opinion, and then we're going to be watching for a daily one over the next couple of days. So our main support, our must-hold support as far as I'm concerned in this uptrend, is down here with these triple lows, the last consolidation low. So that was brief consolidation a week ago, but this was a 3-day pullback where we bounced 13,788, 13,550, and 13,501. So 13,500 is a very important support level, and we did hold that. The bulls bought the dip. You can see it's a very significant bullish reversal hammer currently forming after 3 days of pullback. The 4-hour RSI is what had me very confident in my trade. If there's one thing that we know in the last 7 months, it's that when we hit 4-hour oversold conditions, especially when every single shorter term time frame is extremely oversold, we see very solid bounces play out. So I was looking at Litecoin, but I had Bitcoin up on the other screen, and I was watching as we dumped down very significantly, and the RSI at that point was under 30. We were in oversold territory. The last time that has happened was all the way back in November 19th or November 11th. And it's been a while. It's been over a month. And look at what happened when we hit that oversold territory. We saw a very significant bull run follow it. So the bulls were ready to buy the dip. It happened very quickly. Again, we're having problems with exchanges. We have to know that we are going to be at a disadvantage with all the lag and all the craziness going on. And really the best way to do it is to set your buy-in limits beforehand. Now, how do you determine where that's going to be? That's a bit tricky. And I'll go through my thought process in terms of how I was trading this as clearly as I can. But on the hourly time frame now, let's look at this recovery. So the all-out dump, we have hit RSI 30 multiple times, but look where we bounced. I mean, at the low of this candlestick, we were well oversold. That was another reason I was confident. But in the end, we're ending up with these RSIs bouncing right off this 30 level. And we're keeping an eye out for an hourly bull MACD cross that would show us that the bulls are back in control. Bottom line is the low is in for tonight, and I believe we're going to see a bounce. A high of the bounce is going to be set on the big three. It's going to be a lower high compared to the action preceding the dump, and then we're going to see an equilibrium pattern play out. So we just broke bullish on this inside bar, but I think we're going to set a lower high compared to 17,905. Let's get that resistance there. I think we're going to set a lower high compared to this. I think we're going to pull back and set a higher low somewhere in the mid to lower 1500s or 15,000s. And then we're going to see that tighten up overnight. If that doesn't happen, if the bulls break the lower high pattern and break this resistance on this bounce, that is a big swing in favor of the bulls in terms of the odds that we do make it back towards previous levels pretty quickly. If we don't, then it's going to go out as we anticipate. And as far as determining, which direction we're going to break the hourly equilibrium pattern, I don't know. And I'm not going to try and guess which direction. I'm going to wait for that break and then act on it. So keeping an eye on these bulls to set a lower high. I'll be confident that the lower high has been set on this bounce when the 15-minute time frame loses the higher low pattern. So we just formed a low here. There's a new support right here that is important. That's at 15,500. Multiple 15-minute inside bars giving signals. And in both directions, God, I love these inside bars. So we have a multiple inside bar pattern forming right now. If we get a bull break, we're going to be looking up at that resistance I just highlighted, 17,905. Look at the hourly time frame. We had a bear flag I drew earlier. Right as this started pulling back, we started to say caution of the bear flag. If we dump down to lower lows, this continuation bear flag is going to be confirmed. We have had nice oversold bounces today that have resulted in multiple opportunities where even these short-term bounces that didn't change the trend or anything, they had nice plays. And I flipped Bitcoin here and was just sure to be out to lock in my profit. I actually locked it in a bit early, but plenty of opportunity on the way down on these bounces because the bulls are still buying these dips. So that's my game plan. I am expecting the hourly equilibrium pattern, and it's all about 17,905 resistance. Checking in on Ethereum on the daily time frame, big long lower wick, still very clearly an uptrend here. All these lines are from shorter term action, but it's very clearly an uptrend because the last consolidation low was 618. This one is now 701. That's still progress. And look at the long lower wicks. This is still a very healthy daily chart. So the fact that we have these long lower wicks, these higher lows, there are no red flags. These bulls are very comfortable with the fact that the dips keep being bought. Of course, it's not comfortable when you drop this fast, this hard. But again, everything is a-okay where we stand right now with this kind of recovery. So the 4-hour time frame dumped down, and you can see didn't even get anywhere near oversold because we're coming after a breakout. And this is just a very, very significant recovery. This is the highest price Ethereum has ever been at, aside from the last 20 hours of trading. So that tells you how significant this recovery is. The hourly time frame, watching for the potential of an equilibrium pattern as well. Look at the inside bar bull break that this hourly signal just gave. We broke bullish. The alert went out at 789.73. Here we are up at 814. That is a very significant $25 move on an hourly inside bar alert signal. Checking in on the lower high pattern, anything under $830 is a lower high. We're going to test this level and get this answer pretty shortly. If we set a lower high from here, we're going to look back and look for the equilibrium pattern and a higher low to form back down in the mid $700 range. So it's a key test of resistance right now for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. You can see they're both heading up to that same lower high, and it's very clear that they are correlated. Inside bars on the hourly, both breaking bullish. So very significant bounces from the lows to the highs, 701 to 815. Those amount of gains in that amount of time is absolute insanity. So very strong recovery. Checking Litecoin for the same thing. Daily chart, higher low is maintained. We have the long lower wick of bulls buying the dip. Very significant and healthy buying of that dip. And checking in on the 4-hour time frame, long lower wick. Of course, we did take out the higher low pattern on the 4-hour chart with this lower high and lower low. The big red flag was this 4-hour break of this support of 338.54. As soon as that level broke, we had a lower high and a lower low, and of course the dump followed. So the play that I made as I was watching things unfold, I'm watching the 5-minute time frame with just a clear ramp up in bear volume, and I'm watching Bitcoin at the same time on its 5-minute time frame. And actually, I was cycling around. I was seeing the 4-hour was oversold. The hourly was down in the 20s. So I looked at Litecoin and I said, okay, we're not as oversold as Bitcoin is right now, but I like that fact. The hourly RSI did get down to oversold when we were at the low, but the 4-hour RSI, nowhere near oversold. Now, why I liked this is because as I was staring at Litecoin, I'm watching psychological levels, and that's something I'm always doing on these bounces. It is seeming like every single dump that we get these days, The climax comes when we flush below a key psychological support, we trigger stops, we volume climax, and that's when the bounce begins. And that's what I'm looking for. So in order to prepare for this, I was watching the price approach $300 psychological support. And I saw that Bitcoin was still dumping down at that point, and I was looking for Bitcoin to dump down under its key support, which I was watching back here at 15,700. So as soon as Bitcoin dumped below 15,700, I said, okay, the odds that Litecoin is going to dump below 300 are very likely here. And I'm going to start scaling in my orders. And I'm going to assume that when $300 breaks, we're going to trigger a bunch of stop losses and we're going to flush. I'm not going to put my bid at 295 because all these stop losses are going to trigger and knock the price way down. I'm going to set some deeper hooks. I'm going to be looking for entries. I had my first one at 285.10. I spread my next one all the way down to 275.10. I had another one at 275.15 just because I was looking, and wow, I actually might have, I didn't even just realize this. I might have nailed the absolute bottom. Just need to double check this real quick out of curiosity's sake. I don't think that can be possible that I nailed half of my order. I did. 275.15 and 275.10 were 2/3 of my orders, and that's just that's luck, no doubt about that. Obviously, you know, I had some experience to know to put them down there, but the fact that I filled 14 and 9 cents from the bottom for 2/3 of my position is just absolute blind luck, and I didn't even realize that's how dead on it was. So I was trying to enter, I had those orders filled, and I left a little bit of cash. Now, why I leave a little bit of cash is because if things go absolute insanity, I want to be able to react to the market orders. I don't want all of my orders to fill, and then I'm sitting there as we keep dropping down and I have nothing I can do. So I do keep some cash, and there's two purposes for that. The first one is that I am looking for the potential that I'm going to have to move another limit buy order way down if we keep dumping. The second potential is that my orders begin to fill and we stop dumping and the momentum shifts, and then I push a market buy order with the cash that's sitting on the sideline to ramp up the bull momentum. Now that I've already filled some on limit on the way down, I fill the rest on market to start that bounce on the way up. So I did that, and of course the orders were chaos. Trying to put these orders in and trying to make these sells were absolute insanity, but I did sell my 270s and mid 280s in the 329, 324, 319. So that's where my sell orders were. And again, just locking in those gains in 9 minutes, we saw a 20% bounce in 9 minutes. So, you know, had I held on, there'd be more right now, but I was late for doing things in real life, and that's no worse scenario than that, where you have this action going on and, you know, you promise to meet somebody somewhere. But, so I took that profit in 9 minutes, and now I'm watching for this equilibrium pattern to play out. So Litecoin, same thing. We have our lower high here on the hourly time frame. It's really nice when everything's correlated because we are watching the same patterns. Litecoin is the furthest from breaking this resistance right now. 353 is that level. We're well below it. So I'm looking for that lower high. We got the inside bar bull break. Again, you can see the correlation where all three of these hourly charts all look the same. And we're looking for a lower high to be set. And then we'll pull back and look for a higher low to be set. So that's my game plan heading into tonight. I'll probably wake up a couple times to check in on things and see how they're going. BCH getting added, of course, is big news. This is BCH. I don't believe we have a chart yet on Coinbase. So this is it on Bitfinex. And just to let you know, we are collecting data for BCH right now as we speak for Coinbase Exchange. We're going to add it to the alert system. And I forgot to say in the beginning of the video, we are adding Bitstamp now. And Bitstamp, these are the pairings that we support, BCH, BTC, ETH, LTC, and XRP. And we're certainly going to add more. That's just the initial get the exchange up, get the data flowing. And we are going to continually add to all of these exchanges progressively as we continue into 2018. So BCH had the breakout. And the way things played out, you knew, you know, there's no such thing as inside information in cryptocurrencies, but people knew, and they were acting on this before the listing occurred. And you can tell that by just looking at this chart where it was ramping up before the climax when the news finally came out. We've been in a bullish uptrend for a couple days now as people were loading up. So a lot of people made a ton of money by inside information. And, you know, the CEO of Coinbase can go all in for $1 million and then let this announcement go, and is perfectly legal. So we have a potential top in for now. I would assume that it is in for now just by the amount of, well, I won't say that. Actually, this is still healthy consolidation. We're forming an inside bar on the hourly time frame. The breakout that occurred was very significant. The 15-minute time frame, we're going to look for a higher low to form and then perhaps an equilibrium pattern. Right now, there is definitely significant bear volume behind this, but there was a lot of bull volume on the way up. So we're consolidating. We have to see the 5-minute time frame shift from lower highs and lower lows back to a higher low and a higher high if we're going to make it back to the all-time high of 36.76. So, everybody's going to have this debate now, and it's a little frustrating that we have to listen to it again, but I don't care who's the real Bitcoin. I don't care if it's Bitcoin. I don't care if it's Bitcoin Cash. This is trading opportunity. This is once in a lifetime opportunity. Capitalize on it. Doesn't matter if we're trading, moose antlers right now. Just trade it and profit. So that's what we're looking at. 5-minute time frame for BCH will be useful. Key support is down at 2847, and on the hourly time frame, we're going to form a higher low. It's just a question of where. And the bulls want to see declining bear volume and watch for the hourly inside bars to potentially give us a nice clear pattern here on BCH. So that's where we stand. Today is a good day to reflect on things. Should you have a stop loss in place? Should you have had a stop loss in place? Would that have allowed you cash to potentially capitalize on this opportunity? Did you get into the oversold bounce too early? One thing that I've been doing when I'm getting into these oversold bounces is I am literally staring at the order book and hardly blinking. I am not missing a flash, and I'm looking for the first signs that the sell pressure into the bids is slowing, that the bid support slightly builds, and I want to see those first flashes where the asks get taken out with market orders. Because when you're in all-out dump mode, nobody is buying market orders, but when that momentum shifts, that's when you hit buy market order after the first couple go through. And as soon as that happens, you'll notice all of the coins on the ask disappear. And that's when we rocket to the upside. So I have been using my levels like I explained with the 300 and anticipating the flush under those oversold conditions. Or the stop loss is triggering, I should say. But aside from that, my strategy is just waiting for that first, knowing that we're extremely oversold and waiting for that first shift where market buy orders start coming in. And that's all I got to say for now. So congrats to the people that made profit. If you made some mistakes, review everything. Obviously, this is the Wild West. Again, if you're learning to trade and you're learning technical analysis in this environment, you're at a huge disadvantage. This is absolute insanity. And, it's going to be easy to get beat up real bad doing so. So it's important to learn, but practice with small amounts. Only anything that you can afford to lose. Long-term positions, leave those alone until you're comfortable and confident. And I appreciate you all watching. We'll check back in the near future.